So the first thing that we discussed when we were talking about this Psalm 23 is David, his reference to God as the Lord, and him using Yod He Vav He, or Yahweh. There's a reason he uses Yahweh. Yahweh is the feminine form of God's name. Yahweh is a feminine form. And there's a reason why David is using that, because Yahweh portrays a God of love. David does not call him Adonai in Psalm 23. He does not say Adonai is my shepherd. He does not say Elohim is my shepherd. He says Yahweh is my shepherd. And there's a reason he uses Yahweh. So in Psalm 23, we see David referring to God by God's name, Yahweh. He does not say Adonai is my shepherd. He does not say Elohim is my shepherd. He does not say El Shaddai is my shepherd. He says Yahweh is my shepherd. There's a reason why he uses Yahweh. Yahweh, the feminine form of God's name, portrays a certain nature of God, a certain type, kind nature of God's heart. David is deliberately pointing out that God, in a certain that we have to look at God in a certain way, to view God in a certain way. If we are to understand God's shepherding of us, we need to realize or to view it from the point of love, because Yahweh portrays the God who is love. Yahweh portrays Abba. Yahweh portrays Abba Daddy. Yahweh portrays Abba Mommy. Yahweh portrays God who is love, not God the judge, not God the king, not God the lawgiver, but God love. The one who created you because he loved you. The one who saved you because he loved you. The one who came after you because he loved you. The one who will never stop coming after you until he has gotten you completely. This is the Yahweh that David is portraying when he's discussing God being your shepherd, or God being my shepherd. In Exodus 3:14 and 15, and in Exodus 6:1 and 2, God introduces himself as Yahweh. God comes and says, my name is Yahweh. Abraham knew me by a different name, but now I need you to know that my name is Yahweh. And that's important. When Moses asked him, what shall I tell the people that the God who has sent me, what shall I tell them your name is? And God told him, you tell them that Ehyeh, Asher, Ehyeh. And that the God is telling him, you tell them this, that I was, that I am, and I will be, that I will be. That's what Ehyeh, Asher, Ehyeh means. It's talking about I am at all times I am. I was that I was. I am that I am. I will be that I will be. You tell them that. And then in the next verse, in verse 15, he tells him that my name is Yahweh. I am Yahweh. In fact, he told him, you go and tell them that Yahweh, the Elohim of your fathers, has sent me. That Yahweh, the God of your fathers, has sent me. God is introducing his real name. In Exodus 6, we see the same thing again. God is saying, verse 1 and 2, my name is Yahweh. My name is Yahweh. That's important. When you know God is not his name, God is a title, but his name, God says, my name is Yahweh. He introduces himself. It's like God is shaking your hand and saying, hi, my name is Yahweh. Not my name is God. That's my title. That's what they call me. But the title, because of what I do and because of the kind of nature I am, but my name is Yahweh. And that's important because God introduces himself as this. What amazes me about this is when you understand what Yahweh means. And Yahweh, in the full teaching, if you check, we talked about the Yod and the He and the Vav and the He and what each of those means. And then you realize that this name is talking of one who is a passionate lover, one who wants to have communion with you, one who wants to have fellowship with you, one who wants to connect heaven and earth. That's the Vav, the 10th peg. He wants to connect heaven and earth. He wants this love relationship. But then when you say the Yod, the handshake from Yod, the handshake, and then you realize that God is saying that he wants to be our friend, to shake. He wants us to shake hands. And then when you think about Yada, which is sexual intercourse coming from the Yod, and that's talking of this intimacy, this closeness, this relationship. And God is saying that He's revealing himself to us as the one who wants to have a close, intimate union with us, a communion with us, a mingling with us, an intercourse with us, a love relationship with us. And God is saying that this is who he is and this is who he wants to be to us. Glory be to God. Sorry. He portrays himself as a God of love. Yahweh is the one who reveals himself as love, because the He is speaking about that self-revelation, the one who is revealing himself. And God is revealing himself as wanting to connect heaven and earth. He's revealing himself as wanting to connect heaven and earth through love. He's wanting to be friends with man. He's wanting to be our companion, our best friend, our lover. This is what Yahweh is talking about. Yahweh is a feminine form. It's talking about the motherly nature of God. God is not a man. I've said that many times. God is not a male. He's not a man. This is a creation of warped minds and warped religion. God is not gendered like us. The father is created in God's image and portrays the picture of God as father. But the mother is created in God's image and she portrays the picture of God as mommy. And it's so totally fine to say Abba Daddy. It's totally fine to say Abba Mommy, because this is who God is. He's the best daddy there is, but he's also the best mommy there is. And he wants to reveal himself to us as this. So as we study Psalm 23 and the rest of the other verses, then we begin to see the true nature of God. He is love. He is kind. He is gentle. He is wonderful. And some people say, but he's also a lawgiver and he's also a judge. And that's the nature of love. Love is just. So the loving God is a loving judge. Just like a loving daddy and a loving mommy will be a loving judge in a home, God is also a loving judge. He does not judge because he's angry and wrathful. He judges because he loves justice. Because love loves justice. Because love is just. Do you get what I'm saying? They are not contradictory. Some people say God is love, but he is also just. No. God is love and he is just because love is just. There's nothing more just than love. Nobody loves justice more than love. Nobody loves equity more than true love. So God is love. God is just, and he portrays himself this way. And now in our culture today, we have gotten an image of God that is based on the fall of Adam. Let me explain that. You see, we think about God in terms of what Adam's fall caused, what sin caused, what Satan's temptation that Adam fell for caused. Here's the question for you: the kind of God that you believe, would that be valid if Adam had not fallen? In other words, if you are believing no, God is the lawgiver, he judges sin, he's angry at sin. Yes, which is true. But let me ask you a question. What if there was no sin? What if Adam had not sinned? Would God still be a lawgiver, angry at sin, judging sin, which was not there? What about when you go to heaven at the end of the time, when God removes sin and he removes everything and he recreates a brand new world? What kind of God is he going to be? What kind of God will he be when there is no sin? You need to ask yourself that question. As a believer, you need to ask this question. What kind of God is God when there is no sin? What kind of God will he be when there is no sin? When there is no sin for him to judge, when there are no sinners for him to be angry with in our religious concepts, when there are no people for him to punish because of their misdeeds, when there are no people to send to hell, when he has destroyed even hell itself and thrown it in the lake of fire, as he tells us he's going to do at the end of time. The question should be, what then will be God's modus operandi? What kind of God will he be? Do you realize that the God of most Christians, the God of most believers, will be out of a job? He will be totally useless at the end of time. After he has judged all sin and after he has destroyed hell and Satan and sinners, after all of that has happened, this is what's going to happen. The God of most Christians will be out of a job, because most believers, Christians, have a view of an angry God. They have a view of a mean God. They have a view of a God who is judgmental, a God who is not love, who is not kind, who is not gentle, who does not love us, but just he's offended, and he wants us to assuage, to massage him so that he feels better. And he sent Jesus to save us from him. You see, God was so terrible, but then he didn't want to destroy us because of his terribleness. So he sent Jesus to like absorb all of his terribleness. And it's like Jesus is the good guy, God the Father is the bad guy, and so Jesus comes to save us from God the Father. I mean, that's literally, I know I'm saying it directly, but I'm telling you that's literally how Christians have portrayed God, and how they have portrayed Jesus and his work on the cross. They have portrayed an angry, offended, self-centered, mean God who wants to destroy all of us. But then he sends Jesus so that Jesus can save us from this angry, mean, self-centered God who is just, absolutely full of himself, and is so self-centered and so offended, and and Jesus is the good guy saving us. And that's a terrible, terrible representation of God. A total, utter misrepresentation of God. Jesus is exactly like God. It's not that God is mean and Jesus is kind. That God is so bad and terrible, and Jesus is this awesome savior who has come to save us from his terrible father. That is not it at all. The Father is pure love. He's pure joy. He's pure peace. He's pure kindness. He's pure goodness. And it is his plan to send Jesus to bear all of our fallen nature and the consequences of our fallen nature. Jesus is not really coming to save us from an angry God. Jesus is coming in wrath to destroy this enemy of mankind, because the Father is like, my children are being destroyed by sin. Jesus, God, do something about it. And Jesus comes and he destroys the works of the devil. The Bible says Jesus does not come to save us from an angry, mean God. He comes to destroy our ultimate enemy, the devil, and the works of the devil. But I have a serious message on that's going to come up later as we study. But God does not come to rescue. Jesus does not come to rescue us from his Father. Jesus comes to show us who the Father truly is: love.